All right, I think we're good now. The screen recording app had a few updates, so I had to go in and figure out what was different. But I think we're good. Also had to replace my mouse battery, so that took a little bit and a few trial errors. But now we're here. This is the real one. Swear to God. Um, Welcome everyone behind the beat for the month of September. On the Path is the track we're breaking down this month. Just dropped that as a single on August 30th. Pretty much the final single from Unknown Advantage, which is actually out right now, but it's only on Even exclusively. So if you're looking for an early listen of the full project before it comes to streaming services, definitely check out the link in my bio for that. I'll talk about that toward the end as well to give you a refresher if you haven't seen any of the other videos where I've been talking about the album. But On the Path, we put that out on streaming as well already as a single so everybody can enjoy it. So I figured it would be a good one to give a breakdown for. And it serves as the outro for the project, 10 tracks. And I thought this was the perfect closing song for this one. And it's funny because I don't really remember making a lot of beats that I've done, especially even the ones that are on projects or ones that have been out in the world, or even ones that get chosen by other artists. But this one I do remember the creation process a little bit, specifically toward the end of the song, adding in the guitar, which I'll get to that as the last bit of the beat. But I do remember making this one, and it really stood out to me. And I think really just what I wanted to do to make, or the reason that I wanted to make this the outro, was that it just had that feeling of kind of a grand finale. Just every element kind of played well with one another, and it really fit the context of the overall vibe of Unknown Advantage as well, which I think was super cool. So let's get into it. It's got about the same amount of sounds as most of my beats do, 5 to 6, which is to me the sweet spot, which is pretty nice. And this beat just has a lot of great layers to it. I love the way that I was able to blend the layers on this song. So the main element that we hear pretty much throughout until we get to the end is these kind of synthy type keys that I found. And I'm going to play you the original first before I ended up chopping it up. So here's what they sounded like when I initially put them into SliceX. So they were in a much different key than where I took them. I don't really know I can't really remember the key that I changed them to, but I wanted to kind of darken them up, slow them down a bit, and just rearrange it. So this is what I ended up rearranging that into. So it gives it a little bit of a different tone, and obviously it's a different pattern as well. So that was kind of a cool little switch up from the original and what that was doing. So once I had that, I felt like the drums needed to come next and just kind of hit through and really just give it that really punchy tone to it. So let's hear those drums by themselves. So it's pretty much just that 4 bars, and there's a little bit of variation where I took them out at certain bits, like right before where the chorus is, things like that. Just kind of broke them up throughout the song. These are I called them Lost in It drums. Don't really remember where I got these from. Probably SliceX, something like that. I believe I made this beat probably at the beginning or toward the spring of 2023. Because, like I said, I do still kind of remember the process of putting this one together. So by then, I was probably using SliceX. Maybe they're from there. Next up, we have these pads, which, again, if you know my production, you've seen these other videos. Use pads all the time. I think they just really bring out a different element of production. So let's hear these ones, and these are from Poison, which I've also mentioned before. FL Studio stock plugin. Let me see what sound this is. This one is called. Actually, no, this is the bass. Okay, so we're backtracking. This is the bass from Poison, and it's the click bass, which I use a lot. And all I do is pretty much just darken the tone a little bit from the original sound. So let's hear that. Sorry for getting ahead of myself. Yes, that was the bass. And I like to keep bass tones pretty much tucked in the background. I don't really like to have them stand out a ton if they're not like an 808, like a sliding 808 or something like that. If it's just a normal bass that just needs to kind of support the drums a little bit and make those hit harder, I just kind of tuck it away and just, you'll know if it's gone, but you'll know when it's there too. So I think the click bass, I use that so much just because it has that type of tone to it, which I enjoy. So now is the pads. We'll come back to this part here, but I want to go to the pads next because that is what you hear on the main chorus. And these pads, I believe, are like a sweeping type of pad. They have an effect in Pigments. I don't think this is the one I use, but there's like a sweep effect in Pigments that I use a lot, and I just love it for transitions and things like that. This one is more of like a pad mixed with a synth mixed with that sweeping effect all in one. So let's hear that. I call that one Serene Pads. Very dreamy, very spacey. And I just love that those sorts of elements in incorporating those into my production. So you'll hear that on the chorus and the outro as well. I love the way we'll get to the outro here in a minute, but the way that it sounds paired with the guitar in the outro, love how it came out. And really, the next final main element that we have are the keys that complement the initial, um, or the first set of keys. These are other keys that complement those. Um, I believe these ones were already prearranged, and I just kind of shortened it a little bit and matched it to the tone of the original ones. So let's hear those. See, to me, those ones stand out the most. Like when you hear the full beat, when those come in, it's like, wow, this is a whole different world that it kind of transports you to. And I thought that was like my favorite element of this whole production, being able to put that in, and it's in the pre-chorus and the chorus for both halves of the song. And I put it a little bit into the outro as well. So before we get into this final element, like I said about remembering a little bit about making the beat, I remember getting done with all that stuff that I just showed you. And then I was like, I kind of want to do like a different ending, kind of like combine something. But I was like, I don't want to do a two-part beat because I've done that in the past too, where I'll just take two beats, kind of mash them up and make that a full song. I was like, I kind of just want it to end, but I want like a different type of outro. And I actually had this guitar from another beat, and the other beat I really wasn't feeling it at all. I wasn't I wasn't feeling the percussion. I wasn't really feeling the other elements I surrounded it with. And I was like, let me just pull in this guitar and see if it fits with this. And I kind of just tweaked it a little bit. I let it fit the 90 BPM. And it just so happened to match the key of this track too. And so when I did it, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, this has to be the ending. Um, so I'll play you just the guitar by itself, and then we'll hear it in context with the other elements at the end. a guitar with a lot of saturation, but there's a lot of variation in it. Like whoever played the sample originally put a lot of different variation into it. Um, so yeah, I heard that and I was like, wow, that really just fits very well at the end. It's kind of like an unexpected element to come in there to finish it off. And in context with well, I'll mute the drums even. Just hear it in context with that sweeping pad is incredible. And to just have that be the complete ending of the full album is awesome. Couldn't have asked for anything better, but I wanted people to experience this as a single as well because I just thought it stood out so much. So before I wrap this up, let's hear it all together real quick. That was one of those songs too where I was like, I could let an artist have this and probably make a really cool song and write to it. But I was like, I got to keep it for me, you know what I mean? And when I was putting the project together, that was kind of my goal was to put the best beats that I had at the time on the project and the ones that were personally my favorites because I make a lot of stuff. But not everything resonates with me. You know, sometimes I'm making things specifically for other people and it's like, even though I enjoy it, it's not really resonating with me and, my tastes all the time. But this one definitely did. And just like the other songs on the project, I felt like it was right to include it. So yeah, that was pretty much On the Path, the outro for Unknown Advantage. Now, like I said, this track right here is already streaming everywhere as a single, so definitely go check it out. The link will be in the description if you want to hear it. But Unknown Advantage, September 1st, which by the time this video is out, that will have already passed. So Unknown Advantage is available now on Even, which is a platform where you can pretty much support artists by paying a few dollars or whatever you want to pay to access their music ahead of time, ahead of the official release to all the other streaming platforms. Um, and I've mentioned this on a few videos already. So if you've seen those videos, you already know what's up. But if you haven't, basically what I'm doing is you can pay $2 or more to hear the music early. There's also a way to get the link for the vinyl pressing, which is already available. But if you want to add some extra support, you pay $10. You get to hear the album early, and you get the link for the vinyl release, which is going on now. Um, and we got about a few weeks left in the vinyl pressing release with Diggers Factory. So if you haven't pre-ordered that, definitely go check that out. That link will also be in the description and the Even link too. So all these links are going to be in the description. But if you want to hear the album a few weeks before everybody else does, this is definitely something you're going to want to check out. And the support is definitely appreciated as well. And if you have any questions, reach out to me on social media, which is primarily Instagram at Anthony_Church24, or email me anthonychurch24@gmail.com. Always happy to answer any questions. But yeah, this was September's Behind the Beat for On the Path. Go check that out. And we'll be back with another one of these next month. Don't know what I'm going to be doing for October yet, but we'll see. Gonna keep pushing this album and pushing this project. And I appreciate you guys for listening, checking everything out, supporting. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. Hope to see you back on the next one. So until next time, appreciate you guys as always. See you then.